I'll leave you with another song of love to a particular young woman, again from the past. Actually, I'm not going to do the song about her. I've moved on. My life is very different now. There's no, why? Why should I mean, obsessing over anything too much is not good, so I will kind of change horses in midstream here and sing about something else, like frogs. Frogs can happen to anyone. This is kind of a cool thing about them. No matter how wonderful your mansion is or how well your groundskeepers keep your grounds, you might get frogs. Frogs are a great equalizer. Same with roaches. Roaches are an even better equalizer. See? Maybe that's what heaven is. Maybe heaven is a place where everyone has exactly the same amount of roaches. A big mansion with lots of roaches. I would not mind living in a big mansion with lots of roaches with Jenny Chow. If Jenny Chow did not mind living with lots of roaches. And if the entire human population of the world was reduced to myself and just one other person right now, with apologies to everybody else in my life, I would want it to be Jenny Chow. I know. I have to get my mind off her. So I talked to Pat, best friend Pat, Dr. Pat. Pat went to med school, has become a wonderful doctor, an asset to his community, and I think that's great. I like the idea of being a doctor. Probably the reason I never went to med school and became a great doctor, or an asset to my community in any way, was cadavers. I cannot stomach the idea of a job where you have to practice on dead people. I can't think of any other jobs where you have to practice on dead people, but there should be some. I think maybe certain telephone operators and taxi drivers and such should have to kind of warm up on dead people before they enter the arena of the living. I could also never do a job where I had to be a cadaver. I don't like the idea. I don't mind them taking whatever organs they need from my body once I'm gone, but not all of them en masse. Of course, I would give to Jenny Chow whatever organ from my body that she needed while I was still alive. I wonder if I should tell her that. If I could make a sacrifice that would bind the two of us in some heroic way, take the blame, take a bullet, take a vow, I would do it in a second if I thought there was a chance that I just might impress Jenny Chow. I seem to have strayed back into Jenny Chow territory. You can't blame me, it's stream of consciousness. I was just going by stream of consciousness. Dream of consciousness. Dream of tonsil fish. Scream of conch shell dish. Bream of licorice. Red licorice, black licorice. Red leather, yellow leather, red leather, yellow leather. Rubber baby buggy bumpers, rubber baby buggy bumpers, rubber baby. Big brown bug bit a big black bear and made a big black bear bleed blood. A big bad black bear burst into a clearing, and the panicked picnickers pelted pell-mell out of the clearing, all except one young woman who did not make it out of the clearing in time because her ankle was caught in the picnic blanket. The blanket had wrapped itself around her ankle somehow, And while everyone else was leaving the clearing, she was tripping, and the big, bad, brown bear popped out its razor-sharp, almost metallic eagle-like talons and grabbed the other corner of the blanket, the diagonally opposite corner, and started pulling claw over fierce, dripping, poisonous, venomous snake eagle fang claw back, so that the woman was being pulled inch by inch back toward its dripping, horrible, diseased, mutated. The bear had been bred in a mad scientist laboratory just outside the clearing where the unfortunate picnickers had put their blanket down. And Jenny Chow screamed, and it was not a stupid B-movie-like scream. It was a useful, help me kind of scream. But nobody was still in the clearing to hear her, and even if they had been, they would not have been able to hear her scream because it was the incredible wailing and roaring coming from the very heart of this. It had no heart, but to speak of because it was a heartless beast. But the incredible, deafening roaring coming out of the stinking, diseased mouth of this fanged, winged shark bear from outer space, which had been created by aliens which were hovering in a space lab right over the picnickers, but they didn't notice it because they had their cloak on. The spaceship. And the bear was about to bite down in the tender flesh of Jenny Chow, who was being pulled, and now she was just inches from the rotting corpse of a living dead bear, snake, machine bot, and it looked as though all was lost for Jenny Chow, and then suddenly someone burst into the clearing. Me! I was on skis. I forgot to tell you it was a snow picnic. And I came rocketing down the mountain and into that clearing, and I just had a split second to see what was going on. And I saw this incredible dance of death, which has never been seen before, between a mutated, half-rotting corpse bear bot and an attractive young Chinese American woman. And I only had a little tiny bit of time to think what I would do next, so I skied right toward and up and over a thing, and I went flying up in the air right toward the couple locked in the inexorable dance of death. And I had time while I was flying toward them to release the bindings on my skis so they fell off, and I landed on the bear's head, and I just clamped myself onto the bear's head, and I stuck one of my ski boots into his mouth. And he was so startled that anyone would have the balls to try something like that he let go of his end of the blanket, and Jenny Chow tumbled to the ground into the snow. She was okay. And I kept clinging to the bear's massive head, and I leaned my face down into his ear and put my lips right in, actually put my lips in his ear, but I mean, they were still attached to me, but they were in his ear. And I said, "Not today, bear. Not today, nor any other day will you sink your rotting fangs into the tender flesh of Jenny Chow. Not any day while I am alive to prevent it. Do you understand me?" And the bear understood me, and he nodded his massive head to show that I had to cling to his head to avoid being thrown off while he was nodding his huge head. And then when he was finished nodding, I put my lips back in his mouth, and I said, with steam coming out with every word, "And if I wasn't such an animal rights person, I would hurt you." And the bear was so startled by this combination of compassion and balls that he froze. I could tell the fight just went out of him. He was completely frozen in his tracks. And I looked around to see where Jenny Chow had run off to. And Jenny Chow had not run off. She was still standing right there beside the bear to help me. And she reached up her hand to help me down. And I took her hand, and both of us limping slightly, we began to look around till we found both of my skis. And we got down the mountain somehow. And they made a TV movie, and we got to play ourselves. And the world watched us kiss. There's no other love like this. I am yours, you are mine, Jenny Chow.